Hey, welcome back to day 6. I'm going there today, guys. We are talking about the supplement merry-go-round and really that feeling, I think, when you feel like you are just chasing symptoms and never really getting to the root. Let me know if you can relate to that. First of all, put an S in the comments if you take supplements. I'm not against them. I still take them. There's a time and a place for them. They're super, super important, but I'm going to unpack this a little bit because I'm going to be addressing, I think, a lot of the things that are very common feelings for a lot of people, especially when they get on the supplement train, and that frustration really, and we're doing all the things, we're taking the supplements, but yet we feel that we're still not at our, feeling our best. That's what I really, really want to talk about today, and to have people just feel heard, to have people feel like I'm not the only one feeling this way, because let me know, it's like sometimes it can be super, super frustrating. And I'm somebody that I teach business, and when I teach people business for people that to really understand their business, their clientele, their people, their target ideal person. I do feel like sometimes, when we go to the traditional route and doctors, and we go even to naturopaths and holistic, health practitioners, I think sometimes we feel these deeper frustrations that I believe they're either hard to talk about, with that person in the office. We're feeling these deeper things that person, that practitioner is not necessarily talking about it with you or addressing. But anyway, I want to really, really unpack this. So let me start from the very, very beginning, how I got into the supplementation and taking more of that. There's a difference out there in the healthcare world, right? Where when I grew up, it was all about, for me, going the traditional route. I would go to my doctor, get my yearly, go to her for anything. And even my kids, when they were super, super young, I would go and, go down that traditional route. And what happened, again, if you've been watching my lives and that progression all the way through, there's some health challenges that I know I faced personally. I've talked about those feelings of anxiousness, anxiety, panic attacks. There's so much more even beyond that, just gut issues, that constant feeling of bloating. Just my joints, even after surgery, years and years and years, were never felt like the same. Anyway, there's a lot of things that I was experiencing, which led me down the path to more natural health practices, really seeking out more holistic doctors, people that really understood health, the people that really weren't going to shove you out of the office, that really cared about helping you to get to the root. So I was like, yes, I'm all about that. I was really seeking, and I still do. I seek, and I do have a great team of people around me that are just good-hearted, great human beings that I just love to see from time to time. And they truly have that heart for somebody's health, right? But what I found is, the hardest part over time is, the more that I was taking supplements, it just felt like my stack continued to grow over time. All of a sudden it just felt like I needed everything. Let me know if you can relate, all of a sudden you open up my cupboard and it was just full of supplements. I remember growing up as a kid, my mom was the same way. She had this supplement cupboard, and I'd open it up. I'm like, Mom, what the heck? It seems like it's a little out of control. That's how mine started to get. And I was just maybe I wasn't taking everything all the time, but I had this, it was kind of like a medicine cabinet, right? Where I would open it up and I would just have everything that I could pull from at any time that I kind of needed. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. It's good to have that on hand, but here's kind of I want to even address this too, because I lost my mom to cancer so earlier on. You know, she passed away when she was 57, and there's always that fear of, I never want my body to feel like depleted. I never want my body to feel like it doesn't have, you know, what it needs. So I'm the type of person that would always just say yes and invest in my health. Let me know if you can relate to this, but I do honestly believe, like, when we get really clear on our values, like health is one of mine, and people will do whatever it takes. People will pay for what they value. So I am more than happy to pay, you know, for anything that I truly believe will help my health or my family's health, you know, my kids' health, and find a way to make it happen. So I share that, but here's the struggles. Here's some of the challenges that I had. The hardest part was, again, now that we're, you know, you're increasing that over time, you're feeling like, oh my gosh, it's starting to feel a little complicated, right? Like, it's not so simple and easy anymore to wake up every single day. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm taking this in the morning and this at night and all the things. And even when your family's on board and your kids are on board, just trying to like keep track of everything, right? But here's the thing, and I think this is like a common belief as well too, which kind of made me say that course, say that route, because, you know, again, we're told these beliefs, and yes, they are true, that things like times today are not the same as they were 5, 10, 20, 100 years ago, right? Changes in our food. We all know that our food's not the same. Our soil's not the same. There are more, environment has changed too. Cell phones, towers, like so many toxins like around us, right? And even aside from that, just stressors, like we take on so much in today's world than people have before, like our ancestors before us. So I think over time, you know, we start to believe this because it's true, right? That we need to supplement. And again, yes, I'm not saying no to supplementation. That is not what I'm saying. And actually, I'm going to get to this later on, but what I found, this is the biggest frustration and challenge. What I found is, you know, going from the traditional sense in healthcare to now going into more of a natural approach, holistic approach. What I found was, again, over time was like, it kind of seems like we're just switching from, you know, treating a symptom with medication to now chasing symptoms with supplements. And the frustration to me kind of always came back to, you know, it's blue light. Yeah. I mean, there's so much, you get it, Rob. Like, there's just so much around us that we just didn't have before that we have to deal with now, which is absolutely, you know, craziness. And I think one of the biggest frustrations for me going in and talking and going into not even myself, but my kids, you know, and it's always like gut health. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. And there's, again, huge truth to gut health and how it's all connected. But knowing what I know now, it's like we're missing a big piece that is above and beyond gut health and nervous system and like all these things. Again, we're treating these symptoms. And what I found was, again, how do I say this? It's like, who doesn't have struggles or challenges with their gut? Who doesn't have extra heavy metals like in their body? Who doesn't have, you know what I mean? Like, do you guys see where I'm getting at with this? So of course it's like this, we could go and say, yes, gut health, focus on your gut, but it's super, super frustrating when you're eating super clean, you're doing the cleanses, you're reducing your stressors, right? You're taking all your supplements, you're doing all the things, but yet you still feel like something is off. You still feel like, and again, you got to trust yourself. You're not crazy, right? You're not broken. You're not crazy. But yeah, there's just so much more involved. And I'm actually going to talk to that a little bit today too, Rob, even aside from this missing link, that I'm going to actually go more into detail tomorrow in the next coming days. But this is a lifestyle, right? I mean, yeah, there's so much more aside from food and emotionally and spiritually and just everything, right? And I want to go back to, I think, some of the biggest stressors that I know that I found too. It's like, yeah, you want this so badly. You value this so much. for your health. But we got to be real here. We also know that it comes with a cost, right? Like they add up, and holistic care, natural kind of care is not cheap. Everything is out of pocket, especially, and this is the part that maybe these naturopaths, holistic doctors kind of get, but I don't see anybody really talking about it or, in that way, other than it is what it is, right? But, and here's the problem with that. So now it's like you're taking care of yourself, and then when you have your kids going, your husband going, and now they're on supplements, and now it's like you're every single month, right? Every single month. And the problem with that is you're taking so much to treat and to help with all of these symptoms for all of these things, when I don't know about you, but over the last few months, I'm going to get there in a second, but I found that I actually got to a place where I cut right back on my supplements, actually, and it wasn't even because I necessarily wanted to. This is kind of how it played out. But how it played out for me is a few months ago, the company that I was buying a lot of my supplements from unexpectedly shut down. So I used what I had left. So that caused me to, in the moment, I wasn't going crazy to go elsewhere and get other things. What I chose to do in that moment, and again, I was doing this, before, but just having more of a focus on it with the lifestyle things. And actually there's a couple things. When that company shut down, that supply kind of stopped for me. And I was focusing more on myself with the lifestyle things. And aside from that, I shared a little bit the other day about just some of the things that my family was going through, and even my daughter, that full circle moment. And there was a shift even a few months ago where I was like, oh my gosh, like all of this is adding up, right? it doesn't matter how much money you make, right? Like this just adds up. And it's just crazy when you think about how much you're spending on something. And when I started to, that shift a few months ago actually caused me to place more of that focus and cost with my daughter in supplementation for her to help her, get her body on track. I was like, it's kind of one of those things. I talk about it. Is this real, you guys? Like, I talk about it because even for a lot of us, it's like, this is a challenge. It could be a stressor, because we want to do right. We want to do well with our families. And it's like, how, for the average person, it can be really, really hard, right? So anyway, I shifted that, and I want to share with you what I kind of noticed during that shift. And I'll share with what kind of helped me with the lifestyle things. But what I noticed is, again, my daughter was taking these supplements, and she noticed huge gains. Like you could tell that the shifts and the changes in what her body needed. But there was still something that, trusting kind of my gut and that instinct, I'm like, we're still not addressing something. There's still something deep down there. I'm like, we're still not addressing something. And that's what I'm going to actually talk about tomorrow. But this is the thing where it's like, doctors know what they know. Sometimes they don't know everything. They go off of what they've learned. They go off of what their experience is. And I trust them. I respect them for the knowledge that they have, for me. But bottom line, we still need to be our own self-health advocates when it comes to our body, and still not just settle for, everything black and white of what they are feeding you, right? We still want to be the ones to do the research, look into things, and trust that voice, trust yourself. And actually, during that time when my daughter was taking more supplements, I was taking the gas off. I was focusing more on the lifestyle habits for myself. And during that time, I'll never forget it, I was scrolling on social media, and I actually came across a doctor that I was familiar with, and he was breaking down some of his protocols, and he was talking about the exact thing that I had been thinking about in my head, that I've been so frustrated by, because I knew that I was onto something, and nobody was talking about it. Like, I'd bring it up in offices and things like that, and it's like, no. And I think that's the most frustrating part, right? But when I heard this doctor speak up and talk about it, this one phase, actually, this one area that most people miss, it just opened up my eyes so much, you guys. I can't wait to go into this more tomorrow, but so definitely stick around for that. But that's the biggest message that I want to share is, again, if you're taking supplements and you're doing great, supplements are again supposed to boost and nourish. That is their job, to boost and nourish. They don't quite have the power to get to the root, right? They just don't. They can boost and nourish. So what happens if we still have these fires going on inside our bodies at the root level? If we still have these fires going on in our body at the root level, it makes perfect sense. We're taking these supplements, we're feeling better because our bodies have been so depleted and knocked down because of stressors and food and toxins and all the things, right? So it makes perfect sense when we supplement, we're helping to nourish and boost our body back up. But this is what happens when all of a sudden you're starting to feel a little bit better, but all of a sudden you have this feeling of, okay, I'm feeling better, trust the process, yes, but yet you still feel like, I still know something's off. Like on a scale of 1 to 10, it's still not optimal. I'm still not feeling like I know my best, right? So again, sometimes it's like you're going in and you're working on different things and you're feeling it because, yeah, it could be off, like gut health or detoxing pathways or nervous system support. I mean, who doesn't need all of that, right? But yet, if we're going in, we're like, oh yeah, that's what's showing, that's what we can do here. They don't really know, right? It's still kind of like a guess. So you guys, you have to trust yourself. So anyway, stay tuned tomorrow because I'm going to share, I truly believe this because I've experienced it in the last few months. For me to cut down on my supplementation and to feel what I'm feeling in the areas that I'm feeling that have never shifted for me before, it's because I have now addressed this hidden layer that I believe to be even more root foundational level outside of even gut health, you guys. Anyway, again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to make any claims. I'm just sharing my beautiful chaos of a health journey and my experience because I believe that a lot of other people have these similar frustrations. I was even on Instagram the other night and this girl was talking about it. Same thing. And I mean, she had this health journey and she was also like gut health. And yes, gut health is important. We still want to support it. But if there's something else going on outside of gut health, like she realized as well too, we were both like, oh my gosh, we are like the same person. We just discovered this ourselves. And now it's like this light bulb moment. Like, I feel like more people need to know about this. And we still have some differences in opinion, and I'll share about that tomorrow. But it's just interesting. It's interesting when you live and learn. You learn from your experiences, and then you do your best to make the best choice for you. But I do want to share before I hop off here today, when I cut back on my supplementation, this truly is a lifestyle shift, you guys. I really want to double down on, there is never going to be, even though I'm going to be talking about like this hidden missing piece and everything like that tomorrow, but I still want to be super clear that there is never one like magic bullet, magic pill, magic anything that is going to turn your life and your health around. Like Rob says in the chat here, it truly is a lifestyle approach. And it's so important, again, if you say that you value health, and you're not willing to do the work in all of these other areas, then you guys, like, don't spend the money on the holistic doctors and the naturopaths and the supplements if all you're looking at is changes in the scale and all you're looking at is to feel better in one area, like that quick fix or Band-Aid. Like, do better. I'm speaking about this because I'm standing for you. Like, raise your health standards, raise your personal standards. You can do better. But when I let off the gas with some of my supplementation, I do want to share with you some of these lifestyle things that are interconnected that have a huge piece on your health. And I think, again, a lot of people get told you got to drink your water, get your protein in, make sure that you're exercising. Yes, but here's the challenge. I want you to ask yourself, rate yourself kind of where you're at in those right now. Again, I'm not perfect, nobody's perfect. But when we think about those lifestyle changes, you got to ask yourself, if we're not getting in the water, like what's the hardest part about getting in the water? Or what's the hardest part of like getting in the protein? Like get curious about that and just continue to make those small, simple tweaks and meet yourself where you're at. But also too, I think a lot of people miss this, is rather than just being told, or people say, or even your doctors, your health practitioners, drink the water, move your body, eat the protein. Also do your own due diligence and look up. I mean, ChatGPT these days is amazing. And just look up, it's like, what's the importance? We have to know the intention behind doing something. If we make the connection ourselves, we are more likely to do the thing and make it more of a habit and to be consistent with the thing, right? Like, for example, I'll give you a couple examples. I'm like a camel, you guys. When it comes to water, this was before, much better now, but I could go all day long without drinking water. And it sounds so silly, but it's like until you start to ingrain in your head, it's like, okay, it's not just drink the water, but you know what the water is actually doing in your body? The water is actually helping you to detox, get the bad stuff out. It's helping everything to flow in your body. It's helping your cells to communicate, to function, right? We need water. Without it, we can't live, right? So you got to start to know and understand, what is this connection, right? And the same thing with steps. It's like move your body. And then until like, I want to say a couple of years ago, I actually ended up getting like this walking mat because I live near Buffalo, New York. It's terrible in the winter. I don't like to get outside and walk in the cold. But I knew, especially on the days that I was more confined at my desk, I was barely getting in those steps. And yes, steps are a lot even different than exercise or like going to the gym or lifting weights or cardio. If you really look into this, you guys, step count is like, when you think about it, the way I started to learn about it, it's like longevity. I forget which doctor kind of posted about it on their Instagram one time, and it was like, if you are in this range, you want to be able to hit like 7,500 steps plus. And then you could, it's almost like taking off X amount of, you're able to live that much longer in your life. And if you were below 7,500 steps, the way he broke it down was, it's like you would actually be taking off, and I forget the exact number of years, but you're basically taking away years of your life by not hitting that minimum step count. And ever since I saw that post, you guys, I'm like, oh my goodness. Of course I want to live longer, longevity, again, tying it back to my mom and losing her to cancer and all the things. And then all of a sudden I was looking at my step count. At the time I had my phone. I was barely getting in. Again, I don't have my phone on me all the time, but that was the only way that I could track. And I started to see, it's like, oh my gosh, I was like under 3,000 steps, like average. Like, this is awful. This is so not good. This is so bad. So anyway, it ended up causing me to get this Oura ring. Now I can track my step count. But the reason I shared this story with you is because I understood it. It clicked and it connected to what meant the most to me. You got to do the same for you. Get hungry. I mean, again, do better. Like, if we can't just complain about our symptoms and our health and not do anything about it. We can't just rely on a supplement or a magic pill or anything like that and not do the work. But the thing is, meet yourself where you are at and just make those small changes, every single day. So what I started to do when I was focusing on lifestyle for me, I took a look at my day and I took a look in these different categories. Hydration, for example. I met myself where I was at. I was like, all right, how much water am I getting in daily? You guys, it was even less than half my weight in ounces of water. I'm like, this is terrible. So my first goal was, to get in at least half my body weight in ounces of water. That was my goal. And now it's like I've upped it from there. Now it's like drink X amount of water bottles before lunch. Like I set a target for myself. But we got to be committed, not just set a target, but to be committed, to have this be like a non-negotiable. And you can check in with your body. Obviously, it's like when you know, when you say you're gonna do something, you know if you're actually going to do it. You know if you're committed to doing whatever it takes to do to like hit that goal. And you also know if you say something where it's like, next month, next week, catch yourself in that, right? So anyway, I did that with water. And then I also did that with my step count. I met myself where I was at, I was less than 3,000 steps. And I was like, all right, my first goal is to get to 5,000 steps consistently, daily. And then I would work up from there, 7,500 steps. Now my goal is, 10,000 steps. Do I hit it every day? No, but at least I have these minimum targets and I have these stretch targets. Same thing with protein. When I started to understand, it's like I was taking all of these supplements and I was doing certain things here and there, but when I started to understand the connection, when I started to understand the relationship, it got me on board even more, even with the step count and understanding how it linked to stabilizing and controlling blood sugar, even with people in the normal range, and how blood sugar affects, it could be blood sugar can affect weight, blood sugar can affect mood, blood sugar can affect sleep. When I started to get that, then that's when it really started to sink in. So if this is where, let me know where you are at right now. Are you taking supplements? What supplements are you taking? What are you doing in your life that is working for you, that is lifestyle related? There's so many things, and that's the key, is to check in with yourself and ask, okay, what's working? What's been effective? What are you doing? Maybe that's not working. That's not helping you to get closer, to those goals. So like I said, I'm sharing you these different stories because I saw the side where I was taking lots and lots of supplements. I felt like I was in the supplement kind of merry-go-round, and also to the point of like, I'm taking all this and not even really wanting to not take it because I was afraid that my body still wasn't getting what it needed, right? And then all of a sudden, like I shared, my last company all of a sudden suddenly shut down. I wasn't able to get those specific supplements anymore, but rather than going right out and going to somewhere else and stacking up in all the other things that I was no longer getting anymore, me personally, I focus on those lifestyle things. But yet I still focused on all those things, and there were still things, you guys know, as we get across a certain age, things shift, hormones change, like all these things. Like I still was experiencing the bloating, still hanging on to the weight in my midsection. And then, just from that experience alone, and now knowing what I know with this other kind of missing piece and layer that I'm going to talk about tomorrow, when I leaned into that, when I trusted that and took action on it and explored that a little bit more, it's like, oh my goodness, you guys. Like I shifted just a couple things and it has helped my body in so many ways that my 8, 10, 12 supplements couldn't do before. Crazy. And again, I'm not saying don't supplement, but when you have fires going on inside your body, and if all we're taught is to address this or chasing symptoms or just focus on gut health, when you know something is still deeper off inside your body, trust it. And make sure to tune in tomorrow because this could be the missing link key that you might be looking for as well too. I know it's helped me in so many ways. And maybe it can help you to, or at least eliminate some of the supplements to put those fires out, focus on the root cause, focus on the foundation that really needs attention right now. And then when you look towards supplementation, you don't have to take 5, 10, 12 different things. You're taking maybe, I don't know, just some maybe core staples or something like that. So anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you today. That was the topic, was really around supplementation, because it's going to build on what I'm going to share tomorrow. Kind of the live topic tomorrow is, it is the missing piece that nobody's talking about. I would say the link and the overlooked answer to really a healthy foundation in the body. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure if you caught this live or caught the replay, say hello below. I would love to see who tuned in and watched today. Would love to say hello, and we'll talk again soon. Talk to you tomorrow. Take care.